Let us try to solve the exercise number 2 in the part B of a C programming lab. In this exercise, we are supposed to write a program to read n integer values into a single dimensional array and arrange them in the ascending order using bubble sort method. For BSc also, the same exercise is there, but it is there as a part of a sixth program in the part A. So both BSc and BCA will have the same program. So I'm going to show you how to do that thing. Let us first try to solve this part first. That is, we are supposed to read n integer values into a single dimensional array. I have my code block with me. I'm going to go here, and that is the first icon over here. That is a new file. You can click on here, but it is a long procedure. You can straight away click on this new, and you get this file here. That is the much easier option. So you can just click on this file here to get the dialog box. Then click on the C++ source. Click on go, and then we will click on the next. You can actually select this one to skip this time, this dialog box. But let's go ahead with the next one. And here, as you see to it that you are writing the C program, not the C++. So select C and then click next. And this is a place where you are supposed to be very careful. So click on this three ellipses and go to the place where your teacher has told you to save the file. So I assume that your teacher has given you some place like D drive, E drive, or any other drive where you are supposed to store the your programs. So I'm going to just call it as a bubble. Now, one important thing you must remember is that you can give spaces here. You can say bubble space sort. But what I observed is it is not that it is wrong to give the spaces in the file name. But when you give the file name and then try to execute the program, Windows Defender doesn't like that thing, and it will stop the program from executing. So it is better you give a single name rather than giving a space in the file name. So let's click on, I just gave a single name here, bubble. So don't try to give the other name because it's just a name of the file. It's not going to make much of a difference in the program. So when you have done with it, you see to it that it is there at the right place, like your BSc or BCA folder, and then click on finish. And the code block will give you a file with the bubble.c. You don't have to write the C there because code block will do the needful thing for you. And we are all familiar that if you want to write a C program, you need to input output something. So I'm going to import this stdio.h, and I'm going to use this main void main. Now, some of you are saying that what is the difference in writing void main and int main? Suppose if you are writing void main here, so if you are writing void main here, you don't have to write a return statement. So your effort is reduced. Suppose some of you don't like this one. Some people write this one as int main. Suppose if you do that thing, then at the end, when your program ends, here assume that you are writing the program. And when the program ends, the last line must be a return statement, and you can return any value. So you can return 0, 10, 20, something, but it must return a integer value. That is the meaning of it. The program will return one integer value. So if you write int here, and if you don't include this return statement, you will get a compilation error. So it's up to you. If you are good in typing, you write int main and then write return 0. And if you are like me, who is lazy and who doesn't like to return anything to the operating system, just write void here, then you don't have to write anything. Even if you say you are returning int here, even at the end by mistake, if you return 0 here, nothing is going to happen because initially you said that you're not returning anything. It will simply ignore that statement altogether. So let me not change it to int. Let me go with the lazy option, and that is void. And if you are using the Turbo C, that is the old compiler, then I think you will have to write int. You don't have the choice of writing void there. The compiler may complain and say that you are supposed to write that as int. Okay, in any case, we are done with that. So we need to store the values. So here what they have said is enter n integer values. Now this, what is this n integer value? So let's say int n, that is the n integer value, like 10, 20, like you can say 10, 20, 30, 40, like that. That has to be stored somewhere. So this is n refers to how many values you are going to input. So you may say that I'm going to input the value 10, 20, 40, 5, and so on. So you may input many values. So how many values you want to input? So totally how many values? During the examination time, how many values you will input? Maximum 5. Okay. So you need to somehow store them in the memory. So maximum you may store 5 element during the examination, and also during the practical also. Don't you are not Superman that you will store 100 values into the and then try to sort them. So it is better you just take an array. Let me call that array as A with the 20 as the maximum input. And I have not seen any student who has sorted the elements with the 20 elements. They are tied with the 10 elements. So maximum 5, 6, 7 you will go, not beyond that. So I will go that the best student will go with the 20. Okay, so that is done with that. Then I need two counter variables for my for loop. That's I'm going to use it, and I want one temporary values for my swapping. So that these are the things that I want in my program. I'm going to talk about what are these I and j that I will be using, and temp why I'm using it later. So these are the elements that I wanted, but at least by now you know that you need an array with the storage of 20 elements. That is the maximum that you can type during the practical examination. And I don't think so you will try with the 20 elements, and I don't think so any examiner will tell you to type 20 elements then show the output. Okay, so you have given the stress of 20 element, out of which you may just sort 5 elements. Okay, so this 5 that you are going to sort, how many elements that you are actually going to use? You have 20 locations, but out of that 20 location you may use 5 location for sorting during the examination. So this n is the boundary that says you are going to sort, put only 5 elements, even though 20 reservations are there, but only 5 you are going to use it. So maximum you can use 20, but you are out of 20 during the examination you will use 5. So this 5 will indicates what are the actual elements which you are going to use, and 20 is the your maximum number of elements that will be there in the array for sorting the elements. Okay, so let's ask the question. Let's first get this 5 from the user. So how many elements they want? So I'm going to write a statement printf, and I'm going to say enter total number of elements, okay, and I put a colon here and then a space. So remember, I always put the space here, because if you don't put the space, whatever number you're going to enter, it will touch this the colon, or touch this text that you typed here, and it won't look nice. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, then let me go with the scanf, and in this scanf, because I've taken integer, I'm going to use the percentage %d, and I'm going to accept the value of n from the user. Okay, so n has been accepted. Total number of element is n. Now suppose if you are not like me, who can press the shift button and then press n, then make it as small case n. Nobody is saying that it must be n itself, but in my case I'm going to take it as n because I can press shift and n and make it in capital. Suppose during the examination if you are not good in typing, then make this as a n and definitely this one as n. Okay, so element is up to you. So some people write very lengthy name for the variable. Now it is good when you are getting a job, but during the examination your speed matters. So unnecessarily don't write a very lengthy variable name because you have to type that. Okay, so once you accepted that, I'm going to just ask the user print f, and I'm going to tell the user enter this one, enter, where is this going, enter, okay, percentage d elements, okay, into the array. Okay, let me type that into the array. Okay, that's it. What is this percentage d? Percentage d will be that n. Suppose if I say 5 element, then I'm going to say enter 5 elements into the array. So let me just save it and then just show you. This program is not done yet, but just tell you how it's going to go with it. Put a semicolon here first, and then let me try it. And if you just look at here, and let's see how it's going to look like. So this is what you're going to get. Enter the, let me zoom in for you. So enter the number of elements. Suppose if I say 5, then it's going to say the program ends definitely. It's going to just say that enter 5 elements into the array. So that's simple as that. Now you know what is an array. The CBZ students or maybe PCM student may not be knowing what is this array. So be careful. Don't use in real life. Don't use the technical words. So people may not be knowing what is an array altogether. Now let me try to read all the elements. So I'm going to say for, and I'm going to say for the variable I. That is why I said I'm going to use this variable I here. So for I is equal to 0, so that is the starting of the array. Then I less than n. Okay, I plus plus. You know very well. Well, this is the for loop. And I'm going to read all the elements. So I think suppose if you are in this condition like me who like to put a semicolon, let me tell you that because it is just one element over here, there is no need for putting the flower bracket. And be careful, you know what you're doing. If you don't like what I'm trying to do, then put the flower bracket. Okay, so in fact it is not really required. So I'm going to just say a of I. So you can reduce that much of typing. So just read n elements into the array. So it's simple as that. Okay, once your program is done, so here you have to write the sorting. So you have to sort the element. Finally, you will write this statement. What is that statement you are going to write? Suppose if you are successful. So some student, what they do is they don't know how to sort the element using the bubble sort. They just forget it, and they just stop here. Remember, you have the marks for inputting. You know how to put the element into the array. You know it. Then write the output statement. You know how to print it back. Okay, you get marks for that also, even though you don't know what is bubble sort, but you will be given marks for inputting the elements and outputting the elements. So I'm going to say sorted elements are, okay, and I want them to maybe come in the new line. So I'm going to just put a slash in here so that it will come in the next line. And I'm going to use the for loop. So for I is equal to 0. Same thing, I'm going to just print it for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So I'm going to just put this here, and I'm going to say print ef, and I'm going to print the value percentage d, and I'm going to put a slash t here. Okay, so just tab separation. If you don't like it, just put one space here. You don't know what is tab C, you just put a space here because Otherwise, what will happen is the element will come like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, 16, 50, like that, without space. So you put one space there. So when you put the space here, and you put the space here, after printing 10, it will put a space and then put the 20. Then next time again it will put the space 30, 40, 50, like that. You will get the space separated. So you will have that space separation. The good idea is to put the slash t. Suppose if you don't know what is slash t, then just put the space here. As simple as that. Okay. So with this, what is your program is going to do? It will not do anything. But let me run it and then show you what this program is going to do. Remember, if you don't know what is sorting, or suppose if you forget what is sorting, then accept the element 5 element into the array: 50, 20, 10, 4, and 89. I think 5 elements are there. So these elements are entered into the array. So you have an array and you have put this 5 elements into this array. So this is what a great thing that you have done. And then what you're going to do is, this is for that, putting 5 elements into the array. Then you say sorted elements are, sorry, I have not, sorry, here I have to print that value. Sorry. When I talk sometime I just forget this one. So this, I have to print this value, isn't it? So I have this a of I. So this a of I, let me rerun again. So let me close this and then rerun again. So I have the, where is this? Not this one. I don't need this one. I have to build and run. Okay, then. So you have 5 elements. So this 50, 40, 5, 60, 90. Okay, not 90, say 2. Okay, you press enter. You're going to print that element back again. So you're going to print these elements back here. So that's it. You have entered the element and you have printed the element. So you get the marks for input, you get the marks for output. You won't get the marks for the actual logic. Okay, but still, instead of getting 0, you get 4 marks. That's enough for you. Okay. You may say that, so I have completed the part A program. So I get the pass mark. What is the use of getting 40 marks? Okay, then you think of, you get 44 marks. So this is how it goes. So if you don't know the logic in between, you know how to read and you know how to input the something into the program and output the last result. But you don't know the actual logic, forget it. Actual logic, you are going to lose the marks. So otherwise, the student, what they do is, you just walk out of the lab saying that I don't know. Don't you know how to input and output? Write that part, you get the marks. Okay. So now let's come back to the actual logic. So what I have done in my program is, let me run and let me show you. So I have 5 elements and I have inputted some 5 element, okay, like this, something like this. I have, now let's see what is this bubble sorting and how it can be done. Okay. So first of all, let us see what is this bubble sorting. First, you must understand what is bubble sorting, and then you will come to know what is it. Then it is easier to get the logic. Suppose if you jump into a swimming pool, so the swimming pool is not very deep, so you have a chance of survival. That's right. So if you jump into you may not live long to see my explanation. So assume that you are jumping into a swimming pool and you don't know how to swim. So as you go down, what you will observe? So you will shout and yell and you go down. So what you notice is your the oxygen or the air which is there in your lungs, it will start coming out. So if you carefully observe, what you will notice is when you jump, the big bubble which are there, they will come out first, the large bubbles which are there. And then you will notice that the smaller and smaller bubbles, at least you might have seen the some National Geography and the Discovery Channel, wherein somebody is going inside the sea in search of the treasure, or maybe in search of some fish or something of that type. When you see that, what you notice is the bigger bubbles, the larger bubbles, they come out first. So they are coming first, and these small tiny bubbles will then slowly come out. Okay, so first you see the big bubbles, so larger bubbles that is coming out, and followed by the next larger, and then finally these tiny chota bubbles will come out. Okay, the same story is true. In the bubble sort, what we are doing is first we eliminate, or first we take out the largest element. So we first pull out the largest element from the list, then we go for the second largest, then for the third largest, and so on and so forth. And finally, the tiny values elements are there, we pull out them. So this is the idea. So in the bubble sort, the largest element will come out of the list first. Second largest will come out of the list second time. Third largest will come next, and so on until the list is exhausted. So let me assume that you have inserted these elements 4, 3, 48 and 1. I, even though I have typed 10, 20, 30, 40 and something, so this 45, 60 and something, but let me start with this explanation. Very simple, small numbers you have typed, and what you have typed is the first element that you have typed. This is the first element is 4, like how you have typed here, the first element 45, typed here. So just assume that you have typed the first element is 4, the second element is 3, third element is 4, fourth element is 8, and fifth element is 1. I purposely took two elements with the same numbers, so to see what is going to happen. And you know very well, total number of element that I've taken is n equal to 5. So what is the idea over here is, in the bubble sort, the largest element will come out of the list first. That is the idea that we have. So the largest one, where is it gone? Largest one will come out first. So if you notice over here, among this, you notice that 8 is the largest one. It will come out first. In the second largest will come next. So in the second one, you notice 8 is the largest one. In the second round, I will take the second largest one, even though there are two values, 4 and 4, which are largest, but one of them will come out, second largest. In the third time, I will take the next largest. Fourth time, I will take the next largest, because the list is only 5 element. I will get exhausted with the list with that. So this is the idea of the bubble sort. In the first round, you try to pull out the largest element. So in the first round, you pull out the largest bubble. Second time, second largest, third, and so on. So first time you take the largest one, second time second largest, third time third largest, and so on until the list is exhausted. Now, what was the list that is given to me? So the list that is given to me is this one. This is the initial list that was given to me. 5 elements are there. This is the first element, second element, third, fourth, 5 elements are there. What is that I am doing? I will always start from the starting of the list, and I will go till the end of the list. So from the starting, you go till the end of the list. So what I do is I take the two adjacent element. So I take this 4 and 3, first element and the second element. I compare them. I check which one is greater. So I find that 4 is greater than 3. And because if you are sorting it, you know very well, the small element must come first, then the largest. So what is sorting is in the ascending order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, in the ascending order. So you notice that this is not in order. 4 is not in order. So 4 should have come next. 3 should must come to the first position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap their location. So I'm going to bring this 3 into the first location. This is the first location, and I'm going to get this 4 in the next location. So I'm going to get it in the second location. In other words, I'm going to swap them. This is what is generally called as swapping. So you put this 4 in this location and 3 in this 3 in this location. You interchange their location. So just assume that I have done that thing. So leave this thing now. Assume that I have interchanged. I brought this 3 here and I brought this 4 here. So I will start from this one now. So I brought this 3 to this location. I brought this 3 here and I brought this 4 here, and I will continue with this list now. So 3 and 4, that is why I have shown it in a different color. So 3 and 4 are exchanged. Now first element is over. I go to the next element. So among them 4 is the greatest, so I brought this 4 here. So 3 was the smallest, so I brought it here. Now I take this location and go to the next element. So next, in other words, I take the adjacent element. You know what is adjacent element? Nearby element. So first 2, then 2 and 3. So I take the 2 and 3 location. So I take here, and what I notice over here is both are same. So whether you put 4 here, 4 here, it's not going to make any difference because both are same. When both are same, you don't interchange them, just leave them. So leave them as it is. So leave this 4 as it is. Then go to the next element. So you've started from the first element, then went to the second element. Now go to the third and fourth location. Compare the third and fourth location. What you notice, 4 and 8. So 4 is smaller than 8. So if you are sorting it, definitely the next element, that is the largest element, must come to the right hand side. So they are already in the order. So 4 is less and 8 is larger. So they are already in the order. You don't touch them. You go to the next one. I'm going to go here. Okay, so this is the order. I have not touched these elements. Now start with the 8 and 1. You notice that if it has to be sorted, 8 has to come here. If you are ascending order sorting, then 8 has to come next, 1 has to come here. So what I'm going to do is I'll interchange the position of 8 here and I'll interchange the position of 1 here. So this is called as swapping. I swap their locations. The element number 4 is brought to the element number 8th position, and element number 5th is brought to, that is element number 4 is brought to the element number 5 position, that is 8 is brought to here from the element number 4 to 5, and 1 is sent to the other side. So 1 will come here. So I will interchange this. So 1 will come here and 8 will go to the other side. So this is the end of my journey. And what you notice is at the end of my journey, I have the largest element, that is 8. Among them, if you notice, this 8 is the largest one. This 8 is bubbled out of this list. So you know very well, when you breathe out, the bubbles which are going out of the water, you can't catch them again. They are gone out, then you can't bring them back. So the same thing is true. When you have this 8 bubbled out, you don't touch this 8 from now onwards. That is why I marked them as with the red color, saying that you will not touch this 8 again. It's over. 8 is there at its right location. Now let's go to the second round. So in the first round, what is that I said? First, the largest bubble will come out, and we got the largest bubble pulled out of the list. Next, the second largest will come. That is what I told you. So largest is come. Let's go to the second round. In the same story, I start with the first element and I go to the next, and so on. But this time with the one restriction. What is the one restriction? I don't touch this. I'm not going to touch this element because what is the reason? Because this is already bubbled out. Then why you may say, why are you showing? Because it was there in the original list. So even though it is bubbled out doesn't mean that I will delete it from the list. It is there in the list, but I cannot touch that. It's gone. So what is the story now? The story is simple. You start from the first 2 element. Always start from the beginning. So start from the first 2 element. Compare 3 with the 4. What you notice? 3 is smaller than 4. So you don't touch that. So keep the 3 as it is. Start with the 4. Compare with the next element. 4 is compared with the next 4 element. What you notice? 4 and 4 are equal. Leave them. Go to the next one. So go to the next one. What you notice over here, 4 is not a 4 is greater than 1. That means the if you want to sort them, then this is not in the sorting order. 4 should have come here and 1 should have come here. So what you notice that 4 is greater than 1, so you interchange their position. You bring 4 here and when you bring this one to this location, that is called as swapping. You swap their location, you interchange their location. When you interchange the location, what will happen? One will occupy the position, this is the second position. One will occupy the position of 4, 4 will occupy the position of 1. Okay, so what you notice with this interchange, you have the second largest element bubbled out of the list. So in the first largest element is bubbled out, in the second largest element is bubbled out. Now you will definitely ask the question, there are two elements are there which are second largest, what about this? It will be bubbled out in the next round. So with the second round, what I have is the largest element pulled out, and one of the largest element is pulled out. From the next time onwards, I am not supposed to touch these two elements because they are bubbled out. You know, again, I tell you, once the bubble goes out of the water, you can't catch it back. It is gone. You are just not bothered about those bubbles. So these two elements are bubbled out of the list. 8 is gone and 4 is gone. We will not touch them in the next round. What is the next round? So the second round is over. Let's go to the third round. In the third round, what I'm going to do, the 3 is compared with the 4. You compare 3 with the 4. You notice that 3 is less than 4. So it is in order. Just leave it. Now compare 4 with the 1. Definitely you notice that they are not in order. So where is it? It is not in the order. So interchange 4 into this location, into second location, and 1 in this location. So swap them. That is what is called as swap them. So once you swap them, 4 will come here and 1 will come here. Then you won't touch this list because it is already gone. So 4 is now in its proper location. So you notice that largest element is bubbled out, second largest element is bubbled out, maybe the next second largest element is bubbled out of the list. So let's go to the round number 4. In the round number 4, what you are going to do? In the round number 4, again the same story. We will not touch them because they are gone. So you compare first element with the next element. What you notice, they are out of order. So 3 should come here and 1 should come here. You swap them. So you interchange the location. You bring this 3 here. What about this? This is gone. This is gone. This is already bubbled out. This is already bubbled out. This is already bubbled out. There is no comparison. You don't compare it. The bubble is already gone. Okay, so there is no comparison. You just stop the comparison at this point. So you have 3 in its right location. In the next round, if you say in the next round, what will happen? In the next round, all these are bubbled out. There is nothing to compare. Okay, there is nothing to compare. Naturally, this is the least one and it should come out of the list. The last one, the no comparison, it just goes out. Now let's come back to the some calculation. When n equal to 5, how many rounds we have taken? So first round, you have done this one, first round. Second round, you have done this one. Third round, you have done this one. Fourth round, you have done this one. With this, actually the list is sorted out. So when n equal to 5, you took 4 rounds. So if n equal to 10, you should take 9 rounds. So when n equal to 5, you took 4 rounds. That is 1 less than 5. Okay, so if n was 10, then you have to go for 1 less than 5, 1 less than n, that is 9. So if n is 5, you take 4 rounds. If n is 10, you take 1 less than 10, that is 9 round. If n is 20, 1 less than 20, that is 19 rounds. So always these rounds that you are taking is 1 less than total number of elements. So that is done. Now let's look at what you are doing. Okay, how many comparison you actually do. So in the first, you started comparing this with this with this with this. Okay, so how many elements did you actually compare? Okay, in the first one, you actually compared. You went and touched all the 5 elements. Okay, all 5 elements were touched. In the second time, you are not touching the last element, one less than that. Okay, in the next one, you will not touch all the element, one less than that. Okay, in the next one less than that. So every round you start the comparison one less than the remaining one. So how many comparison you have done here is 4. This time you have done 3 and you got the sorting. This time you did 2, you got the sorting. Next time there is only one comparison, you did it. Okay, you know very well, because you know what is an array. Even though we say this is the first element, this is the second element, this is the third element, this is the fourth element, this is the fifth element, in array indices starts from 0. So this is the 0th element of the array. You can say this is the first indexed element of the array, this is the second indexed element of the array, the third, this is the fourth. Okay, so if you didn't get it, so you know this is there even in the mathematics. So in the mathematics, suppose if you have this x-axis and y-axis, so we say this is the 1, this is the second unit, this is the third unit, and we go like that. But we just forget that there is a 0th position here. You start from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and so on. Even in mathematics we do it, but casually we take 1, 2, 3, 4 counting, but we just forget this 0. Even in mathematics we do that, but you must always remember that there is this first element is there. So if you are saying this is the first element, this is the second element, this is the third element, and this is the fourth element. So if you start from 1, 2, 3, 4, you get up to 4. But in the array, this is the 0th indexed element. This is not really required. This is the first element. Sorry, this is the first element. This is the second element. This is the third element. So if you start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 4. If you start counting from 0, it is 1 less than that, because you start from 0. So count it from 0. Use your finger and you will come to know that whenever you start from 0, the values are always 1 less than what you are actually counting, because you are counting from 0. It's as simple as that. Okay. So now let's come back to this story over here. So whenever we are thinking of counting, we always start from 0. So this thing, round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, if you are taking it, so if you're taking that, then if you're using a for loop, then for loop will start from not I equal to 1, it will start from I equal to 0, 1 less than that. Okay, so you generally do that thing. Now let's go for this story. How many comparison you did it? In this case, it was 4. Okay, so n was 5 here, 1 less than n, that is 4. Okay, how many comparison you did it here? I've done the calculation over here. This is 3. So n is 5 here, so it is n minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. How many comparison you did it here? It is 2. N is 5 here, so n minus 3 is 2. You know very well, n is 5, 5 minus 3 is 2. So this is what I am writing, n is 2. Then how many comparison you did it here? It's only 1. So n is 5. Okay, 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, now I start with I equal to 0. I just take a variable I equal to 0. Okay, I equal to 0. N minus I is 0. N minus I is n minus 0. N minus 0, if you subtract 0 from anything, it's not going to change. So when I say, let me put it over here, when I say I is equal to, if I start from I equal to 0, how do I write n minus 1? N minus I minus 1. So if n is 5, let me put it here. If you're getting confused, n is 5. This is 5 minus 1 is 4. That is what you are getting. This n minus 1, that is a comparison, n minus 5 minus 1. Again here, if you are looking at 5 minus 2, that is 3. This is the value, number of comparison I have written over here. Okay, so now what I'm writing is, see, this is original was 5 minus 1 was there. How do I write it? I introduce the I here. So I is 0. Initially I is 0. So 5 minus 0 minus 1. Will it make the difference? No. 5 minus 0 is 5 itself. If you subtract 0 from anything, it's the same value. Minus 1 means it's the same as 5 minus 1. Then I increment I. What is the meaning of saying increment I? I value is incremented by 1. So I now becomes 1. So what is going to happen? So I'm going to say here, you notice that originally it was 5 minus 2 was there. So n is 5 now, 5 minus 2, n minus 2. N is 5 here. Okay. So how do I write it in terms of I? So 5 minus I is 1 here. Can you notice I is 1 here? So 5 minus I is 1 here, minus 1. So this is minus 1, minus 1. This is going to be minus 2. So this will become 5 minus 2. Minus 1, minus 1. 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. So this is same as minus 2 here. Let us look here. This is 5 here. 5 minus 3. This part, which is 2, which is written over here. This is 2. Okay. So I'm going to write it in terms of I. So I increment I by 1. So I plus plus. I is equal to I plus 1. I value was 1 here. Then I plus plus will become I is equal to 2 here. So how do I write it? This is 5 minus I. I is 2 now. I plus plus means I is 2. Minus 1. Minus 2 minus 1. What is it? Minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. So this becomes 5 minus 3. Hope you are getting it. So even though it looks slightly complicated, but I am getting the same answer, 5 minus 3. What about this one? This one is I minus 4. So what is this? N minus 4. What is n minus 4? N minus, where is it gone? N minus 4 is 5 minus 4. That means one comparison here, one comparison alone. So if you look at this in terms of, where is the mouse pointer gone? Okay. If you want to write it in terms of I, so this is I minus, I plus plus is I value was 2 here. I plus plus is I plus plus is I equal to 3 now. So 5 minus 3, then you have this minus 1. So this has minus 1. This is minus 1. So minus 1. So 3 minus 1 is minus 3 minus 1. What is minus 3 minus 1? It's minus 4. This value is same as this one. So I am just confusing you by introducing I here, and I am constantly increasing I by 1. At every step I increase the I by 1 step. Okay, so 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it. So now let's go with the program. Let me close this one. What is that we are supposed to do? We have to go for 1 2 3 4 rounds. So that is for sure. So we have to go for 4 rounds. So I'm going to use a for loop here. So I'm going to say for I is equal to 0 and I less than n. So this is what I'm going to do. So this, you generally say I less than n, you're going to say, but we are starting from 0. You know very well, I already told you, if you are starting from 1 2 3, sorry, where is this 3 on? Okay, 3 4 5 if you do it, but if you start from 0, it is 0 1 2 3 and 4. 1 less than what our count will come. So 1 less than n. Okay, so always remember that 1 less than n. So I put it 1 less than n, that is n minus 1. Then I'm going to go with the I plus plus. So this is done. Okay. Then I'm going to go with the for. Okay. I cannot use I again, so I'm going to use the j. That is why I told you I will take one loop variable j. That is what I have taken here, j. So I have taken I, you know very well, for array. J is taken for the second loop. So every within every uh, loop that I am using, that is within every order that I have taken it, I have to go how many times. So this is the first round. Within first round, how many times I have to go? 1 less than I n minus I minus 1. This is the comparison. N minus 1, how did I write? When I is equal to 0, this is n minus I minus 1. That is what I am doing, up to n minus I minus 1. This many times I have to go. So what is n minus? N is 5, n minus 1 is 4. Up to 4 times comparison I have to do it, not 1 2 3 4. Don't get confused with. I am just doing the comparison. So I is equal to 0, then I'm sorry, j is equal to 0, then j less than n minus I minus 1. This is what I have written, n minus I minus 1, n minus I minus 1. Every time I will increment the value of I by I plus plus. Where is it happening? It is happening here. I plus plus is happening here with every loop. That's going to happen. Definitely, I have to compare the what is the meaning of saying comparing? First two elements, next two elements, next two elements, next two elements, and then it's all over. Okay, comparison. That's what I'm doing. So many comparison I have to do it. I've done that thing. Then what is the next thing? If you find that during the comparison, if you find that the two elements that you are trying to compare, the first element is larger than the second element, then you swap them. So that is the meaning of this, swap them. Now the question is, how do you swap them here? How do you bring this 4 into this location? If you just put this 4 directly over this, it will overwrite it. If I say yes, it will overwrite. Then 4 is gone. I mean 3 is gone. You can't get them back. So what is the idea? How do you go about doing this? First, take this 3 outside, keep it somewhere in the temporary location. Keep this 3 in this temporary location. Bring this 4 into this location. Then from this temporary location, bring that 3 back. So this is what you're doing. So what I've done, first bring one of the element. If you say you will bring 3 or 4, one of them, either this or that, one of them, you bring one of them in the temporary location. Then bring the second element into the first element's location. So what I did, first element was brought. So this let me show it one more time with the explanation. So first element was brought to the temporary location. Second element was pushed back to the location of the first element because it is pulled out of that. Now from the temporary location, bring that element back to this second location. This is what is called as swapping. So you take one element into the temporary and then interchange them, and then finally temporary element you bring it back and put it here. So this is what you're doing. That is what is called as swapping. And when you do the swapping, when the first element is less than the second element. So let me write that story over here. So how do I write them? So some people have the habit of putting the brackets there, but I'm not going to use the brackets here. So I'm going to say if the first element, that is the element at the jth location, remember I'm using j. Why? Because I have two loops here. Number of uh, the number of times I have taken is, this is for I, this is I have taken. The individual comparison, I can't take I again, I will take the j. So for individual comparison, I am taking j. For total number of loops, so this is the first round. For the first round, this is I equal to 1. This is actually I equal to 0, but I equal to 1. then I equal to 2, I equal to 3. This is for I. This comparison is J. This is J, and next one is J plus 1. So this, if you say J is equal to 1, then J plus 1 is 2. So if you didn't get it, suppose say, if I say J equal to 1, so J equal to 1 means this location. What is the next location? Next location, let me put it here. So next location is J plus 1. So J is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So next location is, this is 1, this is next location. So you are comparing the jth location with the J plus 1th location and then swapping them. So you bring this jth location here in the temporary location, J plus 1th location, that is the second, into the jth location, okay, and get from the temporary, you bring it back to the J plus 1th location. So how I'm writing it, so let's look at that in action. So I compare whether jth element is greater than J plus 1th element. So this is what I'm doing. So whether jth element, J is 1 here, so J plus 1 is 2 here. So whether the element at jth position is greater than J plus 1th location. So that is what I'm doing it. So if it is so, you swap them. How do you swap them? Take one of the element. Okay. Now you really need, whether you like it or not, you need a flower bracket. Now, okay. So first bring the element into the temporary location. So you bring the one of the element. Let me bring the element jth element into the location. What is the meaning of this? You take this 4 and put it into the temporary location. The jth element is brought here. Then J plus 1th location, you bring it back to the jth location. How do I write it? So the new element that is going to come at A plus J is the element which was there at J plus 1. So this is what I have done. So J plus 1th element is brought to the jth location. Now from the temporary, bring it back to the J plus 1 location. So from the temporary location, where is it gone? From the temporary location, bring the element back to the A plus 1th location. Where is this temp gone? Okay, done. Okay. Will it solve the bubble sort? So let me go here. So if you want them to come in a proper order, you just right click and you get an option, format use style. Where is it gone? Format use style. You get this format use style. You just put it here and it's going to format your program neatly. So you have the outer for loop, then inner for loop, then if statement, and all of them. Assume that I have not made any mistake. Let me save it, and I'm going to just run this program and just see what it is going to do. So let me put the same value. Let me, what was that? Element 34481. So where is it gone? This is gone. Number of element is 5. So 3, 4, 4, 8, 8 space 1. I sort them, and what you notice is 1, 3, 4, 4, 8. And that is what I should get at the end. 1, 3, 4, 4, 8. It is sorted in the order. So this is what is your sorting. If you take, you can take any other element. Let me, for the brevity, I'm going to rerun here. And let me again take 5. I'm not going to take a large element. So first element is 60. Next element is 0. Next element is 5. Next element is -1. Next element is 10. Okay. I sort them and I must get -1, then 0, then 5, then 10, then 60. It is sorting. That's all. Thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the next exercise. Thank you.